Alright, so what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to review my first ever uh, electric chanter, um, or electronic chanter, or whatever you want to call it. This is it's called the Techno Pipes, and it's by Fagerstrom, if I'm pronouncing that right. Um, Now, don't get it mixed up with the Technochanter, because there's a Technochanter, but it's a more sort of basic version of this. And this is many more features than the Technochanter. So this is the one to go for. As far as I know, the other one that's just called the Technochanter, I don't think it has drones, and I don't think um, it can change pitch and things like that. And I think it's much more limited. Whereas this, it's called the Techno Pipes, right? Just to avoid confusion. Um, and now before I do this review, I kind of want you to know where I'm coming from with this. I'm absolutely shocked with it for all the right reasons. Um, for me, this would have been an anathema. Like I would never ever have considered buying a techno chanter or an electronic chanter. I'm aware of them now for years, and I was just never interested in them. Generally, like I'd run a mile from something like this. Generally, look, like I don't like plastic. Even when I'm playing the big bagpipes or whatever, or Scottish small pipes, I always like to have a wooden chanter, and call me old fashioned or whatever, but I don't like anything kind of plasticky, and I'm not really into technological stuff. I don't like having the latest techno anything. So that, yeah, generally up till yesterday, I would have run a mile from something like that. It's just not me, okay? But I want to tell you, before I review this product, I want to tell you why I changed my mind, and sort of why I came around to the idea of it. And I was wrong. I was totally wrong. This is brilliant. But this only arrived yesterday, right? And I haven't put it down. I've had it all day. I've had it for hours. Yesterday evening, I even brought it to bed with me last night. I'm not messing. I actually was sitting there, lying there in the bed, playing it, at a really low volume. Um, and it's just the key, right? So before I review it, I want to tell you why. So it's right. Obviously, it's practice, practice, practice. For most of us, if you're anything like me, you have a very limited time and space that you can do any practicing in. So, like, just really quickly, like, in my case, like, I won't play because I've more respect for my neighbours. I don't like playing before sort of 12 o'clock in the morning. So, in the AM, I don't really like playing in the AM. Gives them a chance to have a lie on, or if they were working late or something like that. Like, nobody wants to be woken up with bagpipes at 9, 10, 11 in the morning, even. So, I don't play early in the morning. And equally at the other end of that, at night time, I don't like playing after 9 in the evening because I don't think it's fair. Some people like to go to bed early, whatever, settle down for the night. I think 9 o'clock's late enough for hearing any sort of bagpipes. Um, so that sort of limits you, and I'm sure most people are the same as me. If you do have neighbours, you can be limited to the times that you can play. Um, the other thing about it as well is like so when can you play then? Like most of us, it's impractical as well for to bring our pipes into work with us. So like for me, basically, I leave when I go to work. I leave my house very early in the morning at like 6:30, so I can't play in the morning, and I don't return to the house until about 7:30 in the evening time. So by the time I get in at 7:30, and by the time like I eat my dinner and talk to my wife and everything, like it's 8:30, and now I've only got like, if I'm lucky, a half an hour's practice or an hour's practice if I'm lucky. Um, so you're limited to the time that you can spend practicing, and then as well, like if you are like me as well, it's just not practical to bring a set of pipes into work with you. And even when I'm practicing at home, I've always used tin whistles. Um, I've never liked practice chanters. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've never liked them. I never liked the sound of them. I always thought they sounded, well, shy basically. I always thought that they sounded like a goose with laryngitis. I've just never. I've always thought they were out of tune or they sounded weird. And even when I used to go to band practice, like our instructor, Point Major, his practice chanter would sound a bit different to mine, and that would sound a bit different to the lad that's next to you and the girl that's on the other side of you. And we all just sounded, I just thought, terrible. I just never liked practice chanters. So for me, when I practice, I always practice with tin whistles. And another side, if you're not used to me or me videos on my channel, I kind of came a little bit more from the Irish traditional music side of things. Like I started off on uilleann pipes, for example. So we didn't have practice chanters for uilleann pipes, so you always practiced on a tin whistle. But even as you know, even bringing a tin whistle into work with you, it's not the same. Like you can't say you get like a 20-minute tea break, like, you know, unless what are you gonna do? Sit out in the car or something away from everyone for 20 minutes, or are you gonna sit in your canteen and annoy other people? Like say you have an hour's break or a half an hour lunch break or whatever. Are you gonna sit there repetitively going over tunes? It's just not. Most of us just won't do that. It's not practical unless you're lucky enough to work on your own or something like that. So essentially, for me, I've really wanted in the last year or two and moving on, I want to put in more and more practice. I want to spend more hours of practicing my methods and my fingering and tunes and everything else. So I eventually came around to the idea of getting one of these, because basically it's like a silent chanter. You, you plug it in, set of headphones, nobody hears you. So just the whole, like even this morning, like, right, I wasn't working today, right, but I get up at like 6:30, 7 in the morning, right, and ordinarily I wouldn't have been able to practice until like 12 o'clock. But I've been practicing all morning. I started this at about 7:30 this morning. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's like 5 hours worth of practice that this gave me this morning, because I could simply sit and do it in silence. And my neighbours couldn't hear me, and my wife couldn't hear me. And that's just the scope of it. And as I say, the same at night time. You know, practice it at night. Nobody hears you. Standing waiting on a bus, sitting on a bus, going for a walk. I've been for a walk today for an hour. I went out for a walk, and as I was walking along, here I was just walking along like that. Because normally, if I did go out, I'd have to bring the big pipes with me, and I'd be marching around. I'm lucky that I've got a field out at the back of the house, and I can march around the football field. But I didn't have to march, and you know, everyone's listening to you. And it's a bit embarrassing when you're learning a new tune, as you know, and you're just repeating the same bit again and again and again. It's doing your own head in half the time, never mind everyone else's. So I was going, no, this is just perfect. Like I was able to go for a walk in silence, and as I was, you know, I was walking in rhythm. I was walking in step with myself and in step with the tune, and yeah, perfect. Nobody else needs to hear it, only me. So now I'll get to reviewing this. Why this one? I was poring over YouTube videos about which electronic chanter to get. Once I decided I was gonna give it a try, and you know, there's different price ranges, there's different features on different ones, but for me, this one just summed it all up. Both in terms of price and in terms of functionality and sound quality, and like just how compact and how portable even it is. But for me, I think the main things that I was considering when I was looking at all the other electric chanters was, what does it sound like? That was a major one for this first start. What does it sound like, and what features has it got? So some of them are real basic, and they sound pretty like robotic, or like a basic kind of computer game. And I know sometimes you get what you pay for in terms of price or whatever, but I didn't want something that just sounded like Super Mario Brothers or something in my head. I wanted something that sounded sort of halfway decent or believable, that you kind of forget for a bit that you are actually playing a real pipe. Um, so this for me ticked the boxes. There is a complete YouTube video about this. That's, I'm sure your man done a better. His video is gonna be better than whatever way this video turns out. But this is just my sort of way of introducing this to this. Um, so in terms of sound, I'm going to demonstrate the sound to you in two ways. Obviously, I'm not going to put on the headphones because you won't hear it. Right, that's stupid. So, but instead of headphones, what they do give you is the this little mini speaker comes with it, and it does the same job as the headphones. So you'll get an idea of how it sounds. Now look, I'm just recording this on my phone as well, so the sound quality might be a bit shy off the phone, and you know this might not come out too good. I don't know, but in a little while later, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I practice like getting tunes off the internet, YouTube or whatever, because there's a feature that I want to show you about this. So I'll plug it into the speakers. I'll plug it into the good speakers off me computer, so you can hear probably a better quality of sound than this little speaker. But yeah, that's what you can do as well. You can plug this into an amp, or into another set of speakers like off your computer, and it'll work that way as well, or headphones. So I will demonstrate the quality of sound to you, but I just want to, just before I do that, I want to go over the features, which is this doesn't have holes, as you can see. It has these little tiny screws things, which they're like pips, so they're slightly raised above the the profile of the outer part of the chanter, right? And I thought, no, I want something with holes, and there is one or two practice chanters on the market, electric chanters that have holes, and that are it's a light sensor as opposed to a touch sensor, whereas this is a touch sensor. And I was very tempted, I have to admit, but just purely on the quality of the sound that I was hearing, I just thought this sounded better, just from the demonstrations on YouTube videos. There is one available on the market, and it is an actual bagpipe chanter. You can get a wooden one, or there's a plastic bagpipe chanter, and he has these little light fittings, light sensors or whatever inside the holes. And I was so tempted to get that one, but just what stopped me was unfortunately the quality of the sound on the man's video wasn't great. Now maybe they sound better in real life, or if he does another one, I might be convinced maybe to get another one. But I have to admit, these little nodules, or whatever you want to call them, are absolutely fine. They're absolutely perfect. You can feel them the same way as you'd feel a hole. It doesn't feel mad different. Yeah, it feels a bit different. You can feel like the little pips under your fingers, but that's the idea. But it's the same spacing. It's the same spacing as as a bagpipe chanter. Alright, so here just for comparison, just to compare the hole spacing. Now, so as you can see, they line up pretty much the same. That's me all that's a all like full bagpipe chanter, and the holes are pretty much the same, right? Just a touch in it, like you wouldn't notice it. And here's one of my small pipe. Here's my Scottish small pipe chanter, and just line them up here. Sorry. And again, pretty much the same. Not a whole lot in it. Just a little bit different, but it's actually closer to the bagpipe, to the full bagpipe chanter, than it is to the small pipe chanter. I think the the small pipe chanter is just a touch different, but not a great deal. It's not a great deal different. And it's not different enough to notice. To notice when you're playing it. So that's in terms of these little pips. They're just perfect. You can feel them, where you expect your fingers to go. There's not much in the difference. Same with, there's a thumb hole at the back. That'll be your, well, a little nodule thing at the back. That'll be your thumb hole. Look at the size of this. It's just perfect. It's like, it's so compact. It's just as small as it needs to be. There's my tin whistle. Look at that. It's even smaller than the tin whistle. That's my normal tin whistle. That's a D tin whistle. There's a C tin whistle. So you can see it's so compact, it's small, it literally fits in your pocket. It's fantastic. Now, so aside from the finger spacing, as I say, it feels fine, absolutely fine. I'm not struggling to find the holes, if you like, the nodules. I can just feel them. They're where they expect them to be. So and I go between my small pipes and my big pipes all the time, and those whistles. So it's no big deal at all. But one of the major features, as I said to you about this, was the quality of the sound of it. Essentially, you're getting two instruments here. You're getting the Scottish small pipe sound, and you're getting the Highland bagpipe sound as well. Now, there's actually two settings for the Scottish small pipe one, and I'm not all that fond of one of them. I'll show it to you as I'm demonstrating it, but there's one that just, I don't think sounds the best, and then there's another one that sounds pretty good. It sounds pretty much like a normal Scottish small pipe. Another reason why I like this is because functionality. It's very practical. There's no switches or buttons or dials or anything like that that gets in the way. All the functions that you need to do. Now, this is going to sound complicated, but it's not, right? I've only had this one day, and I'm pretty much used to what I need to be used to already after a day. So the combination of things like turning it on and off, and going between the small pipe mode and the big bagpipe mode, it's essentially a combination of how you cover the finger holes. So say if you cover the three, say the thumb hole at the back, and these two, right, there's these two, see these two little nodes at the back? There's these two little things now. They're the controls. They're all you need to control it. So for example, I think I know this one off by heart. If I want to turn on the volume, right, I cover three holes in the front, and then it's kind of hard to show you because I have to do it backwards. But using these, so if I touch this one, like, it'll turn up the volume, and if I turn that one, it'll turn down the volume. Things like that. I'll try and demonstrate it to you with the little speaker thing on the top of it. Then I think if you want to change from the small pipe to the bagpipe, you cover all the holes bar two, and then you tip this one with the finger to get it onto the bagpipes, and then you tip the one underneath it to get it onto the small pipes. Now, it might seem a little bit tricky or awkward, but it's not. I've gotten used to it really, really quickly. So that eliminates the use for controls and stuff like that. So yeah, it's battery operated. You just take off that little rubber thing, and then there's a little plastic cap, and it's just, you pop in, the tiny batteries, the little tiny, the AA, the AAA, just one of these goes in it, and it's supposed to last up to 10 hours. So I'll just give you a little idea of what the sound sounds like. Oh, one major feature, which was a major selling point in it for me, is that basically this is tunable, and I'll demonstrate that to you now out there on the computer when I'm showing you about how I learn a tune. you can increase or else lower down the pitch of it. So say say for instance you're in the small pipe mode and you're playing sort of in the key of A. So you're playing a set of A. See, this is what. Sorry, I have the hiccups. This instrument, there's loads of instruments in one. Like you have like you have like a set of like A Scottish small pipes, but you've also a set of D Scottish small pipes as well. You can adjust the pitch right the way up to a D, or you can drop it down to an A, or pretty much anywhere in between. Um, which is a fantastic function because I've sort of only recently discovered one of my favourite Scottish small pipe players, who's Bridge Campbell. She plays a C set of Scottish small pipes, which you don't often come across all that often. If you know anything like about Scottish small pipes, they're mostly always in the key of like A or D, but she plays a C set. So I've discovered now I can just adjust this chanter and play along to her on YouTube in a C in the key of C. So to me that was a major function of why I got this. Um Also if you've noticed, like when you're listening to Highland bagpipe music and you're trying to learn tunes as well, sometimes it's in like the key of pretty much B flat. Like if you're gonna play it on a whistle, a tin whistle, it sounds like it's in B flat. Um, or sometimes it's a bit lower than that and it's in an A. Like um it's somewhere between A and B. So when I'm practicing, like when I'm doing a Highland bagpipe tune, what I've done is I've modified a generation whistle. That's a B flat. That's a normal B flat generation whistle, but I've like drilled a hole at the back of it for the thumb hole, and it works perfectly. And I've also added a finger hole at the bottom, and that works fine too. Now it's not 100% perfect. It's a bit windy, a bit breathy for me, but and I also had to extend the length of it by about 2 inches. So I just sawed off another whistle and I bound the two of them with epoxy resin, and that's like a leather sort of bandage. But it gets you there. So that's what I've been doing most of my practicing on. A tin whistle for playing bagpipe tunes. But as you know, if you are anything like me and you're on YouTube and you're trying to like follow along, or you're listening to CDs or whatever way you're listening to your music, it doesn't always match up. It doesn't always fit. It's always, sometimes it could be a bit sharp for you, or else it could be a bit like low for you, flat, a bit flat. And unless you have like this, like a tunable kind of a whistle, like which like this is a D whistle, this is tunable, it's fine. So it's great, you can match the pitch. Um, we also have an A whistle which is also tunable again, it matches. But you, what you have with this is that this is tunable. So I'll demonstrate for you now. When I showing you like two different bagpipe tunes I'm learning at the moment, and I need the chanter to match. And these two pieces of music, although they're being both played on Highland bagpipe, the pitch is it's a significant difference in the pitch. And what's great about this is that you can adjust the pitch to to match whatever you're trying to play along to. So that's about it. If I can wrap it up before I actually give you a sound demonstration, like that is what's brilliant about this. That's the main selling factor in it for me, is that the sound isn't too bad at all. It sounds quite like a Scottish small pipe and it sounds quite like a Highland bagpipe. And you can adjust the pitch, which is a major thing. So as I said, in the terms of the Scottish small pipe, you've got an A Scottish small pipe, you've got a D, you've got a C. You can tune it you can change the whole thing. And the same with the Highland bagpipe. You can you know, you can bring it up or down in tone to match whatever you're listening to. So you kind of have lots of instruments in one, all in this. All right, so here we go. Here's a little demonstration of what it sounds like. So at the moment, I'm going to show you is the small pipe, the Scottish small pipe setting on it, and I have it tuned to C, to the key of C, roughly. I've just done a quick comparison on me tin whistle there. And so just to turn it on, all you have to do is either plug in your headphones or plug in the jack of the speaker, and that means it's on. And then what you do is you cover up all the holes except, hang on. Right, so this is C. Now remember I was saying about lowering the pitch or higher the pitch? This is what's brilliant about it, right? So here goes, right? So then I touch these ones at the back. I'm going to lower it. Or I can go lower it again, watch. That's just random, but you can tune it off something else. Like watch it, I'll go lower here. I think that's a bit too low, but then bring it back up again. So if I want to get it up to a D, alright, I've just done a quick little adjustment off the tin whistle, and as you can see now it's more or less in D. So bring it down. I'm just touching these two back holes. It's a bit awkward for me to show you. I'll bring it up. Good one. Right, so to demonstrate now to change it to a bagpipe. So what you do is you leave those two holes, and at the back you tap it. There's the bagpipe. And again, you can adjust the pitch with the two back halls. Or bring it back down. So that's just a quick little demo phrase. But that really helps. Adjusting that pitch really helps when you're trying to emulate or imitate what someone else is doing, especially on YouTube, and getting the tone right. So as you can see there with the small pipes, I went right from a D, a D Scottish small pipe, right the way back down to an A and a C and whatever all in between, and the same with the Highland bagpipe mode. And it doesn't sound too bad at all. Look, I know, look, that little speaker, it is what it is. It's a tiny little speaker. It works well. It does its job, but it sounds obviously 10 times better on your headphones. Especially if you have a half decent set of headphones, um, it sounds it sounds brilliant. Like, it doesn't sound too far off what a real bagpipe would sound like, or what um a small pipe would sound like. So now I'm just gonna move this camera around and just show you what I mean about adjusting the pitch for when you're doing a bagpipe, or copying someone else doing a bagpipe. There's one little thing that I didn't address, and I've had no problem with this so far at all. They say about conductivity of your fingers and your hands. If your hands are really dry and they dry out, that the little electrodes or whatever they are, the little nodes, won't pick up that your fingers are touching it if your hands are bone dry. Now, I have not found that so far. Um, the good part about it though is that there's there's like something like, I think there's 5 settings, where I suppose the one in the middle is sort of like the middle ground, and then you could set it to a higher sensitivity so that like it'll pick up even less. Like, all you have to do is like gently brush off it and it'll pick it up. Or if you feel it's too sensitive, you can reduce the sensitivity. So I believe there's like 5 settings on it. So, but I haven't had a problem with that, with moisture at all. Now, I know I'm in Ireland and it's been raining for the last day or two, so there's a sort of a high kind of density of water in the atmosphere anyway. It's fairly moist outside or whatever, but I've not found problems with my hands, and and the notes, because that was one of the worries. I was kind of going, oh well, if you're going to be like missing notes or whatever, um, is it worth it if you're going to be missing too many notes? Like, but I have to say I haven't had one problem with it. Once last night, like I was playing it for ages, and it was starting like, and me skin did feel dry on my little finger, and it was starting just not to pick it up. But all I did was actually I went to the toilet, and when I washed my hands, I came back down, and it was grand for another hour. So it didn't. It was no major problem. Um, Look, it's not as going to be as perfect or as expressive as your tin whistles, or indeed as your bagpipe. It's you are gonna you're gonna find little differences in the fingering. Um, you're gonna find, I don't know whether this is be the right word or not. And I hate this expression, but sometimes they talk about like false fingering. If you're playing on a bagpipe and you have your own little sort of embellishments, your own little ways of doing things that may not be like by the book, but like I'm not by the book anyway when it comes to pipes. Um, I think a lot of it is about experimenting and your own self expression and stuff like that. So, um, I'm not too strict when it comes to embellishments and ornamentations and things like that. I think, look, if it sounds fine, go ahead and do it. But what you might just find is there's the odd note that you might be in the habit of doing that could be like wrong, technically wrong, and this is expecting you to do it another way. So, for example, um, I can't read music, so I don't even know the names of half of these notes. But when I'm playing on a tin whistle or like an uilleann pipe, and I do this note, it's like you've got like C natural and C sharp. And I actually still see, I started off on uilleann pipes and tin whistle, and I went on to the bagpipes. So I carried a few little traits like that with me. So when I'm playing what's supposed to be like that note, um oftentimes I do it that way. And sometimes it doesn't feel the same if I'm it doesn't I'll just show you, just demonstrate it. I might as well just do the scales for you. Here's scales. So that's the way I do that now. Yeah, no, it's meant to be that, isn't it? You take off your two fingers at the top. But I always do it that way. It's a hang up from when I play the uilleann pipes. I'll just do the small pipe one for you. Yeah, that's the one I don't really like. But here's the other one. Bring up the pitch a bit. Alright, so this is just sort of like to demonstrate how practical it is when you're sitting at home and you're trying to like learn a tune off of the YouTube. Now just bear with me for a second. I've not like prepared all of this. So I'll just show you stuff, for example. So it'll take me a minute for to adjust the volumes and stuff like that, and I don't even know how this is all going to sound through my phone, even how I'm recording it. But here goes. These are the two tunes that I want to learn um, for the for this month, right? So this is the devil in the kitchen, right? So what I need to do now is I need to turn this back on over. I need to turn this on over to bagpipes. Okay, so we need to change the pitch back to bagpipes. Okay. So let's hear this. Now that's pretty close to that. Now I don't know that tune. I've never played it before. But just showing you how you can adjust the volume or the pitch of it. So here's another one that it's another bagpipe tune, but you'll see the pitch is a bit different, so I'll have to adjust this. So that's a bit, I had to adjust that a little bit. Now I never tried to play that tune either. I'm just demonstrating. I'm just demonstrating how great it is that you can adjust the pitch. So I might as well just show you the C small pipe chanter. Alright, I've just changed it back over to a Scottish small pipe. So I'm listening here to a video of Bridge Campbell. And I'll just show you how I'm adjusting the pitch to make it sound like her pipe. There. They're pretty much there. They're pretty much in the same pitch now as her ones. Um, Now I don't know that tune at all. I'm just showing you it's in the same key now. Alright, here's another random tune that I've got. This is in the key of D, so it's again it's Bridge Campbell playing her D set of pipes, but just to demonstrate to you um how I'm gonna bring up the tone to make it match this video. Okay, so it does. Now I don't know this tune. I haven't got a clue how to play the tune, but just to show you that I'll get this chanter to match it. Like. There we go. Few seconds. So that pretty much matches that. Now it's not perfect, but I can adjust it again. Like just it's so easy to do just to adjust it. Like so this is kind of close enough to D, for example. You know what I mean? All right, this is one little last demonstration of that. So I've gone there from a C up to a D, and I'm going to come back down to an A, and this is a very low A. If you just listen to this, now I've already adjusted it because I know you get the idea by now. It's easy to adjust it, but it just shows you the range that this can do, the range of notes. So this is another Scottish small pipe, just in a much lower key, and you'll see it matches it. Watch. Something like that, you know what I mean? But just saying it matches. Right, so my last little demo is I'll just do it for the bagpipe one. I'll plug it into the speakers of the computer so you can hear it a bit better, hopefully. The tone of it and that, you know. Um, just you get extra volume, I hope. Again, this camera, I don't know how the speakers are going to sound, but here goes. Well, that's it. I can't really recommend it anymore. Oh, just one last thing, the price. So just to wrap up, the whole package, like, you know, am I happy with it? Yes. And as prices go, um, just to do a brief kind of comparison, the lower end, I don't want to start naming now names of products or anything like that because I haven't tried them out and I haven't tested them. But the two lower end price range electric chanters, the cheapest ones I've seen, one of them was in and around €120, and the other one was around €150. And just being honest, they just looked a bit bulky and a bit too chunky, and the sound, I don't know, I just thought it was a bit too, as I say, too technical, like a computer game kind of thing. So that's the lower end of the price range. The highest end of the price range that I was looking at, again, I'm not naming names of products, because I can't review it, so it's not fair. So anyway, but the highest range that I was looking at was in and around €550. And to me, I just thought like that was just a touch too expensive. €550 is a lot of money for me anyway, and for most people. Um, Considering you'd actually buy a real set of bagpipes, you could get lucky and get a second hand set of either bagpipes or Scottish small pipes for around 500 or 700 quid if you're lucky, at auction or something like that. So I wasn't able to justify spending €550 on an electric chanter. So I was looking for something kind of mid range, and essentially this is it, and this is what I've got. So I'm delighted with the sound, I'm delighted with what it does. This cost me about €300 altogether. It retails for only £235 sterling. But again, you add the VAT on that and tax, and then import duties that the EU are making us pay just for wanting to trade with Britain. You know, that's what that's how the EU, I suppose, are punishing Britain for leaving and for Brexit or whatever. So now they're imposing these charges on us. So it ended up costing me a little bit more because of the import fees or whatever like that. But it's retailing at £235 sterling, and I'll just show you quickly the people who are selling it. It's e-pipes, epipes.co.uk, and they sell different ones. That's the Technochanter. That has less features on it, but if you just sort of scroll up a little bit, then you'll see the Techno pipes. And as I say, they give you the headphones and the mini speaker with that as well, and it's 235 or 245 sterling just for shipping. It was only a tenner for the shipping, which was really reasonable. And I have to say, they're a brilliant company to deal with. The e-pipes, because it's the Dunfin bagpipes. For those of you that's already familiar with bagpipes and Dunfin and the Isle of Arran in Scotland. I bought odds and ends from them before. Like I bought like a practice chanter, and I think I bought I brought along practice chanter one time, and I bought a small pipe chanter as well from them, and just odds and ends like reeds and things like that, and they're always really pleasant to deal with. Very fairly priced, and good communication with them, emails and that, and yeah, like no problem in recommending. Keir is his name, or Kerr if I'm pronouncing that right, of Dunfin, and these are the most reasonably fairly priced Fagerstrom sets of pipes, techno pipes that I've come across. I've compared prices from different companies and different locations or whatever, and Dunfin or e-pipes were the most fairly priced retailers to deal with. So yeah, all told, that's them. I'm very happy with them. As I say, I only got them yesterday. Can't put them down. They're very versatile, and in fact, there's a whole load of other features that they do. I'm sorry that I'm not that technically minded into stuff, but just to give you just a quick idea, you can turn the drones on and off. You can record yourself playing the chanter and play it back to yourself. As I said, you can adjust the sensitivity of the little electrodes or the nodes or whatever like that. You can adjust the pitch, as I demonstrated. The metronome that's that kind of tick tock thing. That's like a little clock thing that keeps time. You can turn one of those on, so you can like the way people like tap their foot like that to keep time. Well, this is that little kind of clock thing what you would see like with the little pendulum on the top of a piano that does traditionally kept time. There's an electric one built into this. Now I haven't used it. I don't think that wouldn't really suit me, but it has one anyway. The drones you can turn on and off, as I say. Sound, you get two sets of small pipes, which I didn't really like one of them, so I just used one set of small pipes plus the Highland pipes. And as I demonstrated, you can adjust the pitch really wide range to adjust the whole pitch to make it blend into anything that you're trying to learn off or follow. There's a slight change in scales as well that I noticed. It has three settings. There's a chromatic equal temperament scale, a chromatic harmonic tuning scale, or just Grey Highland bagpipes, small pipes, harmonic tuning. Now, to be honest with you, I couldn't find a whole lot of difference between the three of them. There's one over the three of them that I kind of preferred, so I kind of stuck with that. Of course, you can adjust the volume, and then it has this MIDI, MIDI. I don't know much about that. I think that's to do with it can sort of it can you can communicate like with this interface thing of your computer. It's I don't completely get it. What a MIDI thing is, but I know it's something got to do with it's to do with your letting it communicate with your computer. So yeah, it does all those things. What does it do? Musical instrument digital interface. It's an electronic communications protocol that enables electronic musical instruments, computers, and synthesizers to communicate with each other. Okay, right, that's what it does. It has that feature. Um, yeah, no, I'm very, very happy with it. It does all those things. I haven't tried half of them out yet, as you know. I just tried out what I showed you, and I believe he's making them. That that's the maker there, Anders Fagerstrom. So I believe he hand makes these individually, and I believe he's good to deal with as well. All the reviews are good about him. That if there was ever any technical problems or ones that are getting old or whatever like that, he seems to replace parts and fix things or whatever like that. He seems to be a good person to deal with. So I'd say good luck to him and this business. And I'm very pleased with what I got. And yeah, and I'm just sorry. Actually, I'm sorry that I didn't get it years ago. All those hours of practice that I could have had, um, in early in the morning, late in the evening, long bus journeys, going for a walk. Yeah, this is gonna give me loads and loads of hours of extra practice that I'm sure it will improve my piping. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it overall.